It's all good, it's all good. It's all good, it's all good. Welcome to episode 2 of The Doc's World. Now tonight we're going to talk about, or today we're going to talk about, past life regression tool, and it helps you understand a lot of the things that you're doing this particular lifetime, things that you don't know where they came from.
Now, for me, it helped me with my fear of Amish people.
Mm-hmm. She had a fear of Amish people.
They freaked me out. I had no idea why.
Every time they used to mow the lawn, she used to close the blinds.
So this is what's interesting about past life, because you can do a regression, and then what I had with me was a spontaneous
Yes.
Past life flashback, I guess is what you would call it. So there are triggers that could also bring on a spontaneous, although because I had the knowledge of it, I kind of understood what it was eventually.
Right, and this show is to set people straight on what regression is. And later on in the show, you're going to see a snippet from a actual regression session that I perform. Now there's a couple of questions that we'd like to answer straight up front. What is past life regression? Well, past life regression is where, through hypnosis, we take you back through your lives, your incarnations. First thing with past life regression, you have to have a belief system in reincarnation. You have to believe that you've been here before. You have to believe that your soul has traveled through all these different lifetimes. Now, a very good book to go with on that aspect is a book called Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. And
It's an oldie?
It's an oldie,
But
but a
goodie.
goodie.
And
And-
it's, that's one of the books that has really stood
Yes.
the test of
That's
time.
the time.
Because with metaphysics, it's always changing as people grow and learn. But this one has really, with past life regression, has really stood the test of time.
And it came out at a time when it really wasn't talked about. It was a new concept when Brian brought it out amongst, the regular populace. Metaphysicians and stuff knew about it, and hypnotherapists knew about it. But a lot of hypnotherapists will do what we call regression therapy, where they take you back to your childhood, whereas past life regression will take you back to your childhood and then further back into the life before you came to this lifetime and the lifetimes before that. And if there's an issue that you're working on, a fear or phobia that you know has no bearing on your current life because it didn't happen in this particular lifetime. Some people call them irrational fears, irrational
Like
phobias.
Amish people. I
Amish
never had a
people.
run-in with an Amish person.
Nope.
They never did anything to me.
And when you
So I
take them
thought.
back to that past life, you find out that, okay, maybe the 10th lifetime ago, they were beaten up and skulled by an Amish person. And you have that fear, or whatever it is.
If it was only that.
If it was only that simple. But we won't go into that now, all the different aspects. We just want to keep it sort of normal.
No, I'm
low-key.
just saying I wish they'd only beat me up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but we won't go into that because then that sort of brings up, just gets into some weird stuff. And we want to keep this pretty simple so that people can understand it. So that's generally what a past life is. And a past life regression is when a hypnotherapist puts you in a trance-like state and allows you to go back to the past lifetime that initially has that fear. Like if you have a fear of Amish people, what we do is we take them back to the first time that ever happened in their life, and you clear it from there. And normally when you take them back and they're faced with it in that lifetime, that's enough to clear it, that's enough to heal it. You
I know
don't
for
have to
me
do
what it
another
does, once I realized what it was and where it came from, I was totally cool with it.
one. Right.
And actually would say hello.
Now, how does it work? Well, I think we have explained how it works. It's hypnosis. It's taking you back gradually. Now, the hypnosis or the regression that you're going to see in this episode is what I call a recreational regression. No major stuff will be healed. No major stuff will come up. It's fun. It's just to take you back and let you take a look around your past lives, see what you can see if you can bring any information into this lifetime.
Is that some people will go into a very deep trance and not really remember
Mhm.
until they see the recording, and then other times you think that you're not in trance at all, and you think that you're just making it up, and then when you go and look up the information, you find it to be true. Process and not questioning it at the time that you're having the regression done.
Yes, and hypnosis, to a lot of people, there's a big myth about hypnosis. You don't have to be in any kind of deep state to do a regression. You can come out of the regression. The last session I did for a lady was over the phone, and she said she doesn't think she went very deep. She doesn't think she was hypnotized. So I asked her, I said, how much time do you think has passed? And she said, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes? And I said, well, you're looking at 55 minutes.
Well, what about the guy?
Freaked her freak.
What about the guy in the store? I don't believe that I went into the regression. He got the year that he was in. He got what he was dressed as. Remember, he got all the
All the
detail.
details.
And I'm like, yeah, no, you weren't. You didn't go back.
But he showed up every Tuesday.
Every
He was a
Tuesday.
scientist. He showed up every Tuesday when I did my regressions at a store we used to have. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot is, can people be famous in a past life? You know, was I Joan of Arc
Or Elvis.
or Elvis? Well, some people don't even believe he's deceased, so we've got to be careful with that. That and Jim Morrison.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing about it is there were more ordinary people back in those days. Just like there's a lot more ordinary people these days than there are famous people. So the chances of you being somebody famous are about the same chance you have of winning the lottery.
Not that it can't happen.
Not that it can't happen, but more than likely you were around about the same time as that person. You knew of that person in the lifetime that you go back to. Maybe you were in their court. Maybe you
Their
were
assistant.
next door neighbor, that kind of thing. And that's what the regression does. It kind of clears that up for you as to what your position was. But don't be thinking that because a psychic tells you, oh, you were Joan of Arc in a past life.
That's the most popular one.
That's the most popular one, believe it or not. And that you were. Well, that and Jesus.
What about Mary Magdalene, too?